Hello and welcome to the FNO show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Darshan Mehta. First, let's take a look at the headlines. 40 of the 49 economists polled by Bloomberg expect the Monetary Policy Committee to raise interest rates by 25 basis points today. Another weak start to trading session. Nifty hovers around the 10,500 mark. The India week's advances. Oil marketing companies see fresh shorts after the centre cuts excise duty 1.5 rupees per litre and ask the oil marketing company to absorb a 1 rupee per litre states cut levies in tandem. And with a maze of 348 entities, the IL&FS problem is significantly larger than the previously thought, says the new board. So those are the headlines. Let's take a look at what the futures and option trends are indicating at this point of time. Pull up what the Nifty is doing and the Bank Nifty is doing, and we can clearly come to know that there is fresh short positions that are being taken. If you're looking at the Nifty, open interest build up of 4% on the short side. The Nifty is down below the 10,500 mark in trade. If you're looking at the Nifty Bank itself, there is there is also selling pressure there, but this one is seeing long unwinding that is coming in. Now certain trends. Let's take a look at the open interest change and the total open interest. First, let's put up the total open interest across the strike prices, and basically you're seeing that call writers are much more aggressive. This is what's happening today. Call writers have actually added 7 lakh shares on the 10,800 put, and they're writing in from 10,500 right up to high levels, but not enough put writing shedding seen. Put writers are still writing in at levels of 10,516, which gives an indication that they believe that a potential market bounce could be in store for us. Take a look at the open interest, total open interest. And you can see 10,500, that's the big support for the market. 45 lakh shares have been added in open interest. The earlier one was 10,700. So if you see 10,600, 700, both of them are, so the Nifty is below them, but still open interest build up still continues at that level, indicating that the bulls are not ready to give in yet. Poor call writers are aggressive, but still they are not writing it at 10,600, 700 aggressively, which gives an indication that the market probably is ripe for a technical bounce back that could come in. So that's the cues that we are getting in. Put writers have outstanding positions till the 11,000 level, which gives an indication that there is enough meat for the bears to actually have a small bounce back in it. PSU stocks have dented the Nifty today. Across the board, all PSU banks, the non-banking PSU stocks, they have fallen significantly. Yesterday, TCS and Infosys were down in trade. Today, they have managed to bounce back, and they are supporting the market, being the top two gainers as far as their contribution is concerned. Titan is the other stock I want to point out. Strong operational commentary, and the counter is moving up in trade. Three stocks I want to highlight. Reliance Industries, pivot point trading exactly at the 100 DMA. Let's see what happens. Reliance was down 7% in trade yesterday. Today also Reliance is taking a knock of 2%, but has managed to come off the day's low. So it's important for Reliance to actually stay afloat, for the Nifty to do well. Reliance at this point of time is in a catch-22 situation. It could go either way. If it breaks the 100 DMA with force, there could be more potential downside. The other one is Titan. It's moved higher on low open interest build-up. The open interest build-up hasn't been extraordinary for Titan, but it's moved up on strong commentary. But the other factor I want to point out Titan is the fact that yesterday the counter managed to come down. All these high-value stocks are seeing selling in a market. Titan is one of the high valued consumer stock, so probably if this turns for the worst, you could see potential downtrends for Titan. And the oil marketing companies are something which are not doing well in trade. HPCL and IOC, these are the two companies that are now trading below book value. So available cheap in terms of valuation, but the problem with the oil marketing companies is the lack of trust now that investors will have, since the fact that they have been asked to absorb a little bit of losses, which initially they were said that oil marketing companies will be kept free. So that's the loss of trust, and most of the companies coming in sub book. Whether this will go in even further down is for anyone's guess, but valuation wise they are at that level, but trust is an important factor that we need to watch out for. Before we get in a guest on the show, here's a reminder: if you have any queries regarding futures and option market, you can call us on 022-4540-4141. 1 or write to us on Twitter, Facebook with the Ask BQ hashtag. We have two interesting guests line up with us today. Kunal Shah of Indiabulls Ventures joins us. Good morning, Kunal. And Brijesh Singh of Stock Access joins us. Good morning, Brijesh. So let's get it started. The market's extremely weak over the past few sessions. We are in a catch-22 situation. So our guests want to know what should they do now? Should they buy or sell? So Kunal, I'll start with you. What's your view? What should one do now? We are in a situation where I'm not seeing enough call writing coming in at lower levels. Put writers are still active. Is this a level 10,500 from which a bounce will be there, or if 10,000, you see 10,500 being breached today?
See, I think overall, talking about the index, we have seen some kind of extreme selling that has been happening into the index. But now we are somewhere in the kind of an oversold region. Yes, the bounce is expected. The bounce was even expected a day or two back, but it didn't happen. But now, even if you look at the weekly long-term charts for Nifty, it is exactly at the long-term trend line, which is there for the past 10 to 12 years. So I think now this would be a very crucial level for Nifty. Expect a bounce coming out from here at any moment. Since there's an RBI policy, we might see some volatility again that would be happening into the markets today. But overall, now the base formation should come up in Nifty, specifically Bank Nifty showing some kind of base formation. When Nifty is making new lows, Bank Nifty is still trying to sustain that low level. So I think somewhere we might see some positive action that would be coming into the index going forward. So I think in such an ideal scenario where volatility is very high, where you are seeing huge swings that is happening into the markets, trading on the futures front or on anything on a naked call or put side, I think it would be very risky at the current level. So I think it's best time to go for strategies at the current levels. So for Nifty, my view would be still be bullish. We might see levels of 10,900 on the upside that would be coming going ahead for the current expiry. So I would suggest one should go for a bull call spread at the current levels, where one can buy a 10,700 call option and sell a 10,900 call option on the upside. So basically you are bullish on the market as well as you have hedged your positions. The spread is currently trading around the levels of 70 to 65. You can buy at the current levels with a stop loss of 30 for targets of 140 to 160 on the upside. So Nifty stands, this would help to avoid the volatility that is currently playing into the market. So I think bull call spread would be an ideal strategy at the current levels to play for the markets. For Bank Nifty, since it's an RBI policy, it would be very volatile. Still, since Bank Nifty is not breaching the lows that it had made earlier, Bank Nifty still remains a buy at the current levels. I think the risk reward remains on the buy side, where one can definitely buy Bank Nifty futures with a stop loss of 24,600 for targets of 25,300 on the upside. Bank Nifty will gain momentum on the upside once it crosses 25,000 on the upside. Once 25,000 is decisively crossed, we will see some swift momentum that would be coming into Bank Nifty on the upside towards the levels of 25,300. So on Bank Nifty, I would still recommend you can definitely go long at the current levels with a good risk reward ratio. Any positive movement on the upside will see sharp short covering that would be happening into the index. So it's logical to go on the buy side rather than being on the sell side.
Okay, so Kunal has recommended a bull call spread for this. Just for the benefit of the viewers, I'll explain what a bull call spread is. It is employed when one expects a moderate uptick move that will come in a security. In this strategy, a call option of a certain strike is purchased and the call option of a higher strike is simultaneously sold. So that's the strategy that's coming in on for Kunal for the Nifty. Brijesh, your view on the Nifty or the Bank Nifty, and what strategy are you employing?
See, I would be away from the market right now, since today is a big event. RBI policy will be there, but purely from a technical point of view, the momentum is on the downside. Yesterday we have seen Nifty breaking 10,800 and trading below that, and 200 is simple moving average, which has a valuation of 10,778. That has been broken with increase in volume. And last 15 minutes there was a major sell-off had happened. So I'm looking Nifty, going and touching the level low which was made on 24th of May, that is 10,419 around. And even if we draw a Fibonacci retracement from a low of 10,557 that was made on 28th of June to the high of 11,760 that was made on 28th of August. So if we draw a Fibonacci retracement, the downside value of 127.2% retracement value comes around 10,250, where the major buying would be happening. But minor pullback can be seen, but overall trend has been down. So on the downside has been concerned 10,250 and 10,410 to 10,420 are the level for the support side. Whereas the higher side has been concerned, tough resistance line would be 10,800. If 10,800 closing above has been there, then we can say the short-term, medium-term trend for the negativity has been, we have recovered from that negativity, and then we can see a pullback. So I'm looking downside more rather than on the higher side.
Okay, a couple of stock-specific queries. And first, before we get to that, let's get in the stock-specific strategies that our guests are talking about. So, Brijesh, why don't you go first? What are your stock-specific strategies today?
See, my first call would be Godrej Consumer. The overall trend has been down. We have seen a sell-off from a 979, and it's been moving on a downside. And with the increase in volume, if it breaks 690, one can take a sell side in it with a stop loss of 715 and look for the target of 625 to 630 in a couple of days to come. Another sell call would be a Jet Airways. The overall trend has been down. Massive correction had come from a level of 461 that was a previous swing low, and with the increase in volume. So I am looking stock again, going down to the level of 172 to 175. So at the juncture of 188, 190, if it trades, one can take a sell side. Here your stop loss would be 196 and look for the target of 172 to 173.
Kunal, your strategies, stock-specific wise?
I have two calls. One would be on the sell side, one would be on the buy side. My first sell side would be HUL. We have seen the stock being beaten down in the recent times. Today the stock has breached the important support of 1570. So I think one can definitely look to go short into the stock with a stop loss of 1570 for targets of 1530 to 1500 on the downside. On an intraday basis, the stock looks weak with all the immediate supports being breached in today's trading session on the opening 15 minutes. So HUL would be my first pick on the sell side. My second pick would be ICICI Bank. This would be on the buy side. Since Bank Nifty is trying to hold the momentum and it's not breaching the crucial support of 24,600, if Bank Nifty gives a bounce, I think ICICI Bank would be a major participant in that. So ICICI Bank can see a good bounce from the current level. So one can definitely look to go long in ICICI Bank at the current levels with a stop loss of 303 for targets of 331 to 340 on the upside.
Okay, let's get in some viewer queries at this point of time. Siddhant Samaya wants a view on Bharat Forge. He's bought the share price. He's bought the stock at 745. Let's pull up and see what Bharat Forge is doing at this point of time. His buy price is 745. Let's pull up what it's almost 200 rupees below where he bought it. Brijesh, Bharat Forge, Siddhant has bought it at 745. He's making a big loss on it. What should he do? Should he average? Should he sell out? What should he do?
See, overall trend of this Bharat Forge has been down. We have seen, previous swing lows has been broken with increase in volume somewhere around 606 to 605 was a previous swing low, and it has been broken. Even the oscillator on the shorter term to medium term time frame of the chart are giving a negative view. So, but anyhow, 580 is a support from where I'm looking up a pullback, but that pullback would be somewhere around 600 and 606. So the overall trend has been down. The suggestion would be try to book your losses and always trades with the stop loss, whatever the stop loss in points in concern or percentage has been concerned.
Okay, so book your loss in Bharat for Siddhant. That is what our guests are indicating at this point of time. We have a query from Rahul K. He wants a view on BPCL. Today, all the oil marketing companies are down in trade, anywhere between 15 to 20%. BPCL at one point of time was lower even than 20%. So, Kunal, oil marketing companies, is there more potential downside, or are these levels you start accumulating?
See, I think going forward, we will see more downside levels that would be coming into these stocks. So I think any rise into the stock would be an ideal opportunity to go short from the rising levels. So I think overall the structure is weak for OMCs. It was trying to gain some momentum in the past week, but I think the momentum is broken very badly. So I think we will see further downside that would be coming into the stock. So for BPCL, targets of 240 to 235 looks evident going forward. So I think any rise into the stock price, I think, would be an ideal opportunity to go short.
Okay, let's take a look at the other queries that have come in. Bala Kumar wants to know whether he can sell Bajaj Finance futures at this point of time. Kunal, what about Bajaj Finance?
See, I think overall, if I talk about the long-term structure, yes, the stock is still very bullish. I think it's from the long-term trend, it has just corrected. But in the near term, if you talk about Bajaj Finance, I think still I would prefer to be on a buy side rather than be on a sell side, because the long-term charts are so bullish that this might be just a correction of the bull trend that has happened into the stock, and we might see some bounce that would be coming into the stock. So I think Bajaj Finance going long at the current levels would make much more sense rather than going short. One can definitely buy at the current price with a stop loss of 2060 for targets of 2300 to 2500 on the upside. Any bounce in the index in the near term, I think Bajaj Finance would play a very big role going forward.
Okay, Bajaj Finance. I think there's one more query on the oil marketing company. Suresh Gupta writes in that he's bought the HPCL call, 200 call at 8.5 rupees. Let's see what that one is trading at, and he's bought 5 lots of it. So Brijesh, 200 call bought at 8.5 rupees. It's trading much below that. What should we do now?
See, overall, if I talk about the HPCL, the HPCL has a support somewhere around 225, and it has broken that level and it's been trading below that. And right now it's been quoting at 174. There are more chances of downside rather than on the higher side. If the ideal support has been concerned for short term to the medium term time frame has been concerned, I am looking stock somewhere around trading somewhere around 130 juncture. And 225 would be the resistance. So try to book your losses. I am not looking stock bouncing back on a shorter term time frame.
Okay, a couple of views on the large caps. HDFC Bank and TCS. Anshad Kumar and Pankaj Joshi have views on that. Kunal, your view on HDFC Bank? It's corrected significantly. Is there more potential for downside, or should HDFC Bank be accumulated at this level?
See, I think overall, I think accumulation would be a better idea at the current levels. We have seen some kind of profit booking that has been happening into the private banks. But I think overall, looking at the long-term trend for the HDFC Bank, it still looks bullish. Again, the long-term charts are still very bullish. So I think any bounce in the index, HDFC Bank again would be playing a very crucial role. So I think one can definitely go long into the stock or try to accumulate at the current levels with a stop loss of 1900 and for targets of 2100 to 2200 on the upside.
Okay, there's a query that's come in on what about TCS, Brijesh? Any view on TCS?
See, in IT stock has been no doubt the TCS is looking very fantastic, but after making a high of somewhere around 2200, and we have seen a little bit sell-off. So if the ideal rate for the buying has been concerned, then I'll suggest somewhere around 2025, 2040 are the juncture where he can buy, but not at this rate of 2075. So I'll suggest if he wants to be a long, then any panic somewhere around 2025 to 2040 would be the level where one can take a buy call. Here your stop loss would be 2010, and your upside target would be 2125 to 2140 level.
Okay, there are a couple of, I think, queries are coming in fast now. There's a query on JSW Steel by Kiran. He's bought JSW Steel shares at 412. what should he do on JSW Steel? Kunal, you can take this one. What's your outlook on JSW Steel?
I think even JSW Steel at the current levels, in fact, the metal sector looks very positive in the near term. Once the correction is over in the Nifty index and probably in the stocks, we will see some good bounce that would be coming into the metal sector. So I think JSW is one of my top picks when it comes to the metal sector. So I think he can definitely hold at the current levels. In fact, even if he wants, he can accumulate more at the current levels. The long-term trend for the stock looks very bullish. If you have a longer term frame that is for a year or two, we might see levels of 700 to 800 even coming into the stock going forward. So I think it's an ideal time where we have seen some good correction that has happened in the overall market, and JSW Steel is one stock which is likely to see good bounce going forward also. So one can definitely accumulate at the current levels and might see targets of immediate targets of 450 to 460, and if it has a long term view, then targets of even 700 to 800 are possible into the stock.
Okay, the next query comes from Rajdeep Nayak. He wants to go long on Larsen and Toubro at this level. Kunal, would you recommend that?
See, Larsen and Toubro, L&T, we have seen some kind of buyback news that has been coming into the stock. Overall, the stock is very range bound. At the current levels, if someone wants to go long, I think the risk reward still remains on the buy side. Still, the structure for the stock has not been broken down. The crucial support for the stock lies at 1225 level. I think once to 1225 will be breached decisively on a closing basis, we will see sharp fall that would be coming into the stock. So I think as long as the stock stays above the levels of 1225, I think one should definitely be long on the stock and look for an upside targets of 1350 to 1400 on the upside.
Okay, there is a view on DLF by Rahul Jhangi. DLF has been under tremendous pressure of late. I don't know what the counter is doing today, but he wants a view on DLF. I don't think he's traded or anything, but Kunal, if you can help, what should one do on DLF?
I think overall DLF, the trend for DLF looks very weak. The stock was trying to bounce from the oversold regions, but I think again it has negated the trend. So we might see some huge corrections that would be happening in DLF going forward. The long-term chart still looks very bearish. Even if I look for the long-term frame of 10 years, I think this was just a pullback to what the correction was. So we might see some lower levels coming into the stock going forward. The stock on the near term has support at 152, which is a very crucial make or break zone for the stock. So if 152 is decisively breached for the stock, we might see levels of even 118 to 110 coming into the stock. So I think any close below 152 would be an ideal opportunity to go short into the stock, and we might see lower levels of 118 to 110 coming into the stock.
Okay, there's also a query on RBL Bank. Let me see who the Vivek Kanoja wants a view on RBL Bank. Brijesh, what's your view on RBL Bank?
See, for a shorter term is been concerned, no doubt the stock has a support somewhere around 485. So anything below 500, definitely one can take a buy call in it with the stop loss of 485 and look for the target of 525 to 530. Little bit extended view if you, and then 545 to 550 are the level which can be achieved. So anything below 500, definitely it's look positive on the chart.
Okay, there's a query on Facebook by Paritosh Panchal. He wants a view on Kotak Mahindra Bank and Eicher Motors. Both these counters have corrected significantly. Kunal, any view on both these counters, Kotak Mahindra Bank and Eicher?
I think from the private space, I think Kotak still looks very good because it has not breached the long-term supports for the stock. 974 is a crucial level for the stock. So I think as long as it holds above 974, one can definitely look to go long for an upside targets of 1200 to 1300 on the upside. So I think Kotak Bank would be my preference on the long side. As talking about Eicher Motors, Eicher Motor was looking to see some good upswing, but it has breached the supports which the stock had in the near term, that is of 25,750 levels, and now we might see some more correction that would be happening into the stock going forward. So the stock on the charts looks very weak. It has negated the trend. in the recent past week. So I think we might see levels even of 17,000 to 18,000 coming into the stock going forward. So I think any rise into the stock would be an ideal opportunity to go short into the stock, or if someone holds the stock, I think any bounce into the stock would be an ideal opportunity to book profits.
Okay, Kunal and Brijesh, appreciate you spending time with us and answering all the queries that our viewers had. Thank you so much. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the FNO show. For more news and updates, stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.